Hey everybody, my name is Evan. By day trade, I am an InfoSec Analyst in the financial sector, and then also I am the CISO here at Study GRC. And I've been working on a presentation for Cyber on a Shoestring, building Wagyu career skills on a ramen budget because not everybody has a ton of money to go through, dump money into stuff to try and get into cyber. This is going to be applicable for both if you're new trying to come into cyber, if you're already in cyber and you want to kind of change directions a little bit, or if you're just wanting to build more skills without spending a whole bunch of money. There will be some discussion of the more typical certifications, like CompTIA and things like that. But for the most part, we're going to be focusing on practical skills and demonstration of them. So it's going to be leaning more on the practical side of certifications as well. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. All right, so for an introduction, so why this actually matters. Breaking into cybersecurity is it's rough, especially nowadays with the market getting a little bit tougher. A little bit is an understatement. But cyber definitely experiences the same catch-22 that a lot of other career fields experience, even more so. How do you get experience without having experience? How do you get hired without having experience when they want experience? So a lot of aspiring professionals, including myself, I was in this situation previously, still am, still working on building my skills. People will invest thousands of dollars into degrees and certifications and still struggle to land their first role. Currently, it's a big problem. A lot of boot camps are touting get-rich-quick schemes, things of that nature. And then they're graduating, people are graduating, and jobs aren't really there for those people. So the truth of it is, the majority of cybersecurity professionals and employers are going to value practical skills and hands-on experience over certs and traditional credentials, things of that nature, your degrees, things like that. Your ability to demonstrate real-world capability is going to be a very key deciding factor in hiring decisions. If you can actually demonstrate that you are able to do what you need to do in the position. My approach for this presentation is going to focus on cost-effective methods to build skills and experience that employers actually want when you actually get into the position. There will be some talk towards the end of things specifically for getting through the HR section, but for the most part, this is going to be skills and experience based. We're going to discover strategies that are going to require minimal financial investment, but are going to do the best that we can to get maximum career benefits for you. This is by no means a step-by-step guide. Everybody's journey is unique. Mine is different from yours, is different from yours. But at the end of the presentation, hopefully you'll have a couple of ideas to help develop and display skills for professional grade cybersecurity, regardless of whatever budget you may have, and is going to help you bridge the experience gap and stand out to future employers. Do not take this as a step-by-step, you do one thing, then the next, then the next. Not everything in this talk is going to be applicable to you. Whatever you feel is going to work for you, awesome, go with it. Tailor it to your own personal needs. And feel free to reach out to me afterwards if you have any questions. If I don't know, I can find you somebody who will be able to answer your questions. So first off, we're going to just take a brief discussion of the cybersecurity landscape. There's a lot of it. I broke it up into roughly 4 different domains. There are a couple of extra others, but for the most part, it falls under either red team, blue team, OSINT, and GRC, with some outliers as well, like cyber threat intelligence, which is blue team, but not. However, blue team is going to cover your defensive security, your SOC analysis. Man, it would be nice if I could talk right. Your incident response, threat hunting, things of that nature. Red team is going to be things like penetration testing, vulnerability assessment, offensive security, red team operations, adversarial emulation, things of that nature. OSINT is your open source intelligence, threat intelligence, more CTI there, doing research on things that are available to the general public. And then GRC, we love GRC here, is going to be your governance, your risk management, your compliance frameworks, things of that nature. We will be talking about a little bit more in depth about GRC as well than I have actual slides for, and we'll lean more into GRC specifically in the Q&A as well. However, Employers across all of these domains are going to consistently value technical skills like being able to use Linux proficiently, scripting abilities, cloud security knowledge, understanding the systems that you're defending and the vulnerabilities they have. You can't defend something effectively if you don't know how it works. But equally important are going to be your soft skills, including communication, problem solving, and analytical thinking. Key, or at least one of the keys to breaking into any of these areas, is demonstrating your practical capabilities through hands-on experience, something that you can build or do without spending a fortune. Some of the free and low-cost learning resources available. There's a ton of online courses available for free or for cheap. You have things like Coursera, edX, Cybrary, and Udemy often have either free tiers or very steeply discounted courses. Check reviews on them, check back frequently because the sales do change quite often, especially with Udemy. You also have cheaper alternatives like TCM Securities Academy, Black Hills Information Security's anti-siphon training. They have a lot of either pay what you can or fairly cheap training courses available as well. And then you have hands-on labs. You can do Try Hack Me, you can do Hack the Box, you can do Portswigger's Web Academy if you're wanting to do web security. Also, there's Just Hacking Training and VulnHub. Notably, Try Hack Me, Hack the Box, Portswigger, and VulnHub have free options, or VulnHub is just free to my knowledge. Additionally, for tools and community, open source community tools and security tools. Those are going to be big because you can get it running on your own machine. You don't have to worry about paying for it. You can even dig into how it works because there's open source documentation. It's fantastic. Cybersecurity podcasts cost nothing to listen to. A couple of big ones are going to be either the Simply Cyber Daily Cyber Threat Brief. I hope I got that in the correct order. Sorry, Jerry. There's also Jack Resider's Darknet Diaries, which is fantastic. You get, there's so many cool stories that you can go back and listen to of things that have happened in history that, super, super cool stuff like Stuxnet. Jack does a fantastic job of giving that information in a really fun format. There's Discord communities like Study GRC. There's the Black Hills Information Security family of Discords. I think they have like 4 or 5. TCM has one. There's a cybersecurity Discord out there waiting for you, and probably multiple of them. Get into communities, make friends, talk with people. It's a great way to learn and expand not only your skill set, but your community and your network. Reddit forums. There's r/cybersecurity. r/Kali is an interesting one sometimes. There's several others as well. And then GitHub repositories and tutorials. There's a lot of people that post either step-by-step tutorials on how to do things or just repositories of their own code on GitHub. You can go in, learn how it works, or follow their steps. Fantastic options all around. These resources are going to provide structured learning paths and practical experience at a minimal cost. And then when you combine them with a home lab, it's going to be a powerful self-education platform that's going to rival much more expensive training options like higher end certifications, getting a 4-year degree, things of that nature. Yes, it is exactly CyberCycle. It is all at some capacity a boot camp. It's just one that you're curating and building for yourself in essence. The SAL 1, yes. So I took the SAL 1 exam the other day. I had some personal struggles, mostly attributed to the way my neurodivergence was working, and a couple things didn't click. I was very close. I'm going to take the retest here in a couple of days, I think. Try Hack Me is fantastic. So is Hack the Box. One distinction, Try Hack Me is going to be more of a step-by-step how to do it in terms of a structured learning path, whereas Hack the Box is going to be more challenge or capture the flag oriented. All right, so first off, we're going to go ahead and dive into OSINT first. Personally, I absolutely love OSINT. OSINT is also very, very cheap and free to get into. Very few tools in OSINT that you actually have to pay money for. So first off, what is OSINT? It is going to involve yeah, there you go. Open source intelligence involves collecting and analyzing publicly available information to generate actionable insights. It's going to be valuable across multiple cybersecurity domains, from threat intelligence all the way up to penetration testing. So it's going to cover CTI, blue team, you want OSINT, red team, you want OSINT. It's great, great way to get it all the way around. It's going to be able to benefit your career for the rest of your life. Even just learning how to think for OSINT is going to be fantastic. One great way to learn from experts is going to be to follow OSINT specialists like Michelle Khan. I hope I got that correct. Ritu Gill, Gary Riddell, Lisette Abercrombie, Sophia Santos, and Mrs. OSINT, just to name a few. They post tutorials, case studies, methodologies, talks. They post challenges quite frequently. In fact, Mrs. OSINT just posted one yesterday that was a lot of fun. And it's going to be valuable learning opportunities. And then in terms of getting certified for OSINT, there's not a whole lot in terms of practical certifications right now. The only one I'm aware of is the Practical OSINT Research Professional from TCM Security, PORP. It started off as PJOR, I believe. I need to get used to saying PORP. But it's going to be a practical validation of your skills, and it's going to help your resume stand out to potential employers in terms of OSINT. OSINT is going to be an excellent entry point into cybersecurity because it's going to require fairly minimal technical infrastructure to practice and fairly minimal technical expertise. You don't know really, you don't need to know how to technically work on the innards of a computer, so to speak. So long as you're able to use a browser and think critically, you're pretty much going to be set for success with OSINT. Like an editor, yeah, Darknet is fantastic. I've gone back over the repository of Jack's stories several times. It's been a lot of fun. So OSINT tools and techniques. So first and foremost is going to be search engines and operators. Learn how to search for what you want to search for. You're almost always going to have access to Google, Bing, Yandex, whatever search engine you prefer. That's going to be a great way to start. This is going to be the key skill that's going to transfer over to everything else. Social media investigation, so learning how to extract and analyze information from social platforms using both manual techniques and specialized tools. There are tools out there that you can use to search for username profiles, things of that nature. Domain and IP research, so using whois lookups, passive DNS inquiries, and other techniques to investigate the digital infrastructure of an entity and uncover whatever relationships they have. If you find out what their mail server is, you can do recursive DNS searching on it, and you might find other services that that entity uses that are tied to it. And then lastly, we got geolocation tools. Google Earth and Google Maps are huge for this, but they're not the only ones. So you're going to employ mapping services and geolocation techniques to verify locations and gather geographic intelligence. If you're planning a red team operations or a physical penetration test, you're going to want to scout out the building before you get there. Google Maps, Google Earth, or any other GeoInt tool like that is going to be very helpful there. These tools can all be learned and utilized with zero or minimal cost, and many professional OSINT practitioners rely primarily on freely available resources, making this a particularly budget-friendly specialization to develop. One thing to note is Shodan.io is huge for OSINT, and they regularly, at least a couple times a year, run a deal where you get a lifetime license for, I think it's $5 or something along those lines. So wait for one of those sales if you can, and then just pull the trigger on a license and you'll be set. Practical OSINT projects, because we love being able to show what we've learned. You can map a company's digital footprint, research their domains, their subdomains, their social media presence, physical locations that they have, and then document your methodology and your findings in a professional report. You can have it stored as a portfolio of your work, for example. You can investigate an event or a cold case, find something that you have particular interest in, and it might even stick a little bit easier in your brain. But say you want to do an investigation on a certain Super Bowl or a certain crime cold case or something like that. You can use publicly available data to analyze a historical event, and then practice an ethical intelligence gathering while developing your analytical skills. You can automate OSINT collection, so learn to use Python or other scripting languages to collect and organize OSINT data automatically. That both demonstrates intelligence and technical skills, as well as the ability to think analytically about how you want that particular script to function. And then participate in challenges. Like I mentioned earlier with Mrs. OSINT, she posts some, so does Sophia. Gary Rodell will post some occasionally. It's a challenge of, hey, find me. There's a YouTube channel that does these all the time where he is performing the challenge. I think it's Jose Monkey. He'll, within a couple minutes, he'll show you how he found a certain location. And then from these, you can create professional reports of those to showcase your work. However, remember to conduct all OSINT activities ethically, responsibly, and legally. Document your work thoroughly, and then you can create portfolio pieces of those to demonstrate your skills to potential employers. But particularly with OSINT, you want to make sure that you're going about things ethically, just because of the personal information nature of what you're doing. All right, so next up is building a cost-effective home lab. I am a huge advocate of home lab building. I have actually 2 running currently at the house. But why would you want to build a home lab? Well, first off, it's going to provide you a safe and legal environment to practice your cybersecurity techniques hands-on. Particular benefit for your offensive cyber. It's going to allow you to simulate real-world scenarios, test security tools, and develop practical skills that employees are going to value. You can take offensive actions against yourself because you don't have to worry about getting sued or getting thrown in jail for it. And it's more easily tinkerable by you, as opposed to like try hack me or hack the box, where their infrastructure is locked down and you only have access to the instance of that sandbox. Building a home lab helps you to have direct experience with security tools and environments, which is going to give concrete examples to discuss in interviews and to help demonstrate your initiative and your commitment to learning. Some essential components that you're going to need for a home lab: don't need a whole lot. You can start off with an older computer, so long as you can host at least a virtual machine or 2 for testing. And you can even use cloud free tiers, like either with AWS or Azure or Google Cloud. Combining a home lab with open source security tools, virtualization software, and purposefully vulnerable systems like OWASP Juice Shop, Damn Vulnerable Web App, VulnHub VMs, so on and so forth, you can create a comprehensive training environment on a minimal budget. In terms of home lab, it's really a case of the sky is the limit in terms of how much you want to spend, how much hardware you want to allocate to it. You can scale it all the way from something super tiny to something, you have take up your entire basement if you have one. For home lab stuff, I highly recommend following content creators like Ben Heater. Ben has a fantastic website at benheater.com. He specializes in budget-friendly home lab setups and particularly converting old laptops into home labs to help you get started with minimal investment while maximizing your learning opportunities out of a home lab. So you're working on a budget. What kind of home lab hardware do you want to start with? So we're going to start with the cheapest option and then work our way up from there. So cheapest is using what you already have. Either your existing laptop or desktop. You can probably run multiple VMs on it if you're keeping your resource allocation pretty minimal. This is often going to be enough for beginners and is going to require 0 additional investment. Next step up, you could repurpose some old equipment that you have. If you have outdated computers that just are too slow to run for normal like Windows usage, you can make it a dedicated lab system. Aim for something with at least 8 gigs of RAM and a multi-core processor, but nowadays that's not too hard to do. Next step up from that would be something along the lines of a Raspberry Pi, just like Fleckinator said. They're inexpensive single board computers, normally about this big around. You can get them from $25 to $75, and they can serve as network security testing devices, web servers, or even a full penetration testing platform. You can throw Kali Linux on a Raspberry Pi. And then beyond that, if you want to explore your budget resources, you can check eBay, Craigslist, or if you have a local electronics recycling program for affordable options. I personally have an old decommissioned Dell server that I got off of eBay. In a lot of cases, you can get something that's a couple of generations old for a couple $100, or if you go even older, you can get something that's going to cost $50 to $100, and you end up paying more in shipping. One word to the wise: a lot of times when people are trying to offload the really old stuff, you're going to end up paying more on a monthly power bill than you do on the actual hardware itself. Again, remember, I even put it at the bottom. Bigger hardware is going to mean bigger power bills and a hotter workspace. Make sure you've got at least decent cooling if you get a rack mount server. Start small and then expand as you need, and that'll help keep your initial and ongoing costs manageable. All right. Home lab software essentials. So first off, you need something for virtualization. I'm a big fan of the free options. Personally, I run Proxmox as my Type 1 hypervisor on my server, and then I run VirtualBox on my desktop to have additional capabilities there. VMware is also an option. I've become less of a fan of them, especially now with all of the Broadcom shenanigans, but you can get VMware Player. I think you can still get VMware Workstation for free. However, I'm not sure how much longer that will be available. But yeah, just use a hypervisor. Throw Proxmox on something, and then you're good to go. Proxmox is free. You don't have to worry about it from there. But the hypervisor, one of those, is going to allow you to run multiple operating systems simultaneously on a single device. So you can build out an entire virtual network on one physical device. And we'll get into a little bit more on how to do that after that. Operating systems, you can use Kali Linux for pen testing, Debian, Ubuntu, or CentOS for your Linux endpoints, as those are going to be the most commonly used in commercial spaces. And then Windows 10 or 11 or Server 2019 or 2022 for your Windows endpoints. And then you can use specialty distributions like Security Onion, or I think it's Softelk for defense and monitoring. I think it's called Softelk. Security tools, you can equip your lab with open source tools like Nmap for scanning, Wireshark for traffic analysis, Metasploit for exploitation practice, and OpenVAS or Nessus for vulnerability scanning. Most of those are already going to be preloaded on a Kali Linux VM. Just make sure you have them and you know how to use them. Vulnerable targets, you can deploy intentionally vulnerable targets like Metasploitable, Damned Vulnerable Web App, DVWA, VulnHub virtual machines, there's a ton of them, or the OWASP Juice Shop, to be able to practice identifying and exploiting security weaknesses safely and in a legal manner. If you go to VulnHub, they even have the virtual machines ranked from, I think, easy to hard. And so you can start off with the easy ones and to work your way up. Also with VulnHub, actually with all of them, there's tons of write-ups online, people who have done their own documentation for this exact purpose. You can learn from them and then do your own write-up if you want as well. But the beauty of a software-based or virtualization-based lab is that almost everything that you need is going to be available for free. It allows you to create a professional-grade training environment at a very minimal cost. So for a very bare-bones home lab setup, you want to have an attack box. So just load yourself either Kali Linux, Parrot, Athena OS, something of that nature that has offensive security tools built in. You want to have a defense station. So Security Onion is a great place to start because it has everything encapsulated in one machine. And then you want to have a vulnerable targets and your network infrastructure underneath that. So DVWA, Metasploitable, Juice Shop, VulnHub, and then you can use pfSense or OpenSense for virtual switching and routing. This level of a minimal setup is going to give you the ability to practice essential cybersecurity skills, including reconnaissance by using like Nmap or the Harvester, things like that. As well as web app testing against OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities, specifically with DVWA and Juice Shop. You can do exploitation using Metasploit, network defense and monitoring with Security Onion, and then you can also use digital forensics like autopsy and volatility. If you want a little bit more, you can go with the Kali Purple instead of the regular Kali, and that's going to include blue team tools as well. And it's fantastic. It's a little bit heavier of an install, but personally, I am a fan. And even with just these few components, you're going to be able to make dozens of different scenarios to practice and build your practical experience and skills across multiple different cyber domains, all in the same place. You get to know your environment, explore all the different vulnerabilities you have, and then you can flip over, you can practice fixing them and patching them and protecting them. And then you can flip over to the logging side and you can practice threat hunting and doing all sorts of things of that nature. A more expansive example of a home lab network, and we're going to have the actual screenshot of the network on the next screen. This one has 3 virtual networks. It has one for offense, one for defense, and then I have a third section for I host like D&D tabletop servers and stuff like that out of it. And it has over 19 virtual machines just for the cybersecurity section, and that's covering attack, defense, and target systems. And this is all $0, aside from the cost of the actual hardware itself. But the segregated networks of this example are going to allow for more realistic simulation of external threats and internal monitoring. So this is a lot more than most people will ever need. This is a case of I had the resources available on the server and I felt like just building something as big as I could just to see if I could actually make it work. So in this case, we have on the center here boxed in red are my 3 offensive servers or offensive machines. I have a Black Arch machine, Parrot OS, and a Kali. And then on the blue team here on the right-hand side, we have a mixture of Windows and Linux boxes, as well as Security Onion. And I think I ended up, oh yes, I put Juicebox down here as well. So it covers both desktops and servers. I have some servers configured to be an approximation of an application server, some for database servers, and then I have a pair of Windows Active Directory servers running in tandem as well to help practice with doing Active Directory attacks of that nature. However, this is overkill. It's a lot. When I run this on my server, the temperature in my office typically goes up by about 10 degrees. It's not it. I need to scale it down. Particularly, I need to get better hardware than the old server I have, something that's not going to be like, a volcano going off in the rim. But yes, that is correct. Kali Purple is great, but be aware that it does not come with RockU or word list off the bat. You need to install those. That is correct. You need to go in and install them manually after you get the actual VM set up. So now you've got a basic setup for your home lab. We want to talk about expanding it. Basic setup, you want to start with a single computer running virtualization and 2 or 3 virtual machines. Practice your basic offensive and defensive techniques. Then from there, start expanding. Maybe use a containerization like Docker or something along those lines, Kubernetes, whatever you prefer. Integrate with cloud services, maybe with free AWS or Azure tiers. And then you can even deploy honeypots and expose them to the open network if you really feel spicy to study attack techniques. I think after run, or let's get technical for home labbing. That could be fun. Yeah, I'd be down. I could sit there and talk about home labbing for hours. So I promise I'll try and get through this quickly. But as you go, you want to build complexity. Don't try and build something super complex right off the bat. Start simple and then just build it up like Legos. Implement network segmentation with pfSense. You can add IDS or IPS capabilities, set up a SIM like Security Onion or Waza or whatever your choice is, and then document everything. Everything you do, documentation. Not only does it make it easier for you to go back in and fix it if you accidentally broke it, but you can also turn your documentation into a portfolio to show potential employers that shows the level of skill and knowledge that you have built, as well as the dedication that you have towards learning. Each expansion of your lab is going to be an opportunity to learn new sysadmin and networking skills as well. Again, document the processes carefully, because not only is the ability to explain how you built and manage your lab itself going to be a valuable skill for the employers to look at, you're going to need to know how you built it so you can fix it properly. Yes, Elk. Elk is fantastic. Security Onion comes with Elk, an Elk stack already in it. Also, Soft Elk, SOF-Elk, is a fully plug and play Elk stack distribution that was developed by one of the instructors at SANS. It's ready to go straight out the box, has a whole bunch of different grok profiles on it. Yeah, it's but Elk, if you're wanting to do it for home lab, Elk is the way to go. Splunk is great to learn, is specifically for the commercial aspects, because right now Splunk has something like a 30% market share, and if you get in with a big company that leverages Splunk, it's great to know, but Splunk is a little bit harder to run a home lab on, and I can talk about that later on. So next up, we got red team and penetration testing practice for your offensive stuff. The reason that's going to matter is because developing your offensive security skills is going to demonstrate your understanding of attacker methodologies and the mindset underneath that. This knowledge is going to be invaluable for both offensive roles and for building stronger defensive skills. Because if you know how people are going to attack you, it's easier to defend against that. It's going to translate abstract security concepts into practical hands-on abilities. Practice platforms are huge for red teaming. Try HackMe, Hack the Box, and Portswigger Web Academy are just a few. Black Hills, InfoSec, and Anti-Siphon also have the cyber range. There's a whole bunch of different ones. And then essential tools is going to be, first off, learn Kali. Kali is going to come with a ton of tools already. Don't try to learn every single one, and get started on the ones that are being introduced to you and try HackMe or Hack the Box. Learn how to use Nmap effectively, learn your Metasploit, but more importantly, don't learn the particular tool. learn what the tool is used for, because tools are going to come and go, but concepts and practices are going to stick around. You might, find a new hotness. There's a new shiny tool that you use for brute forcing something. Well, so long as you know in essence how you're going to go about that brute forcing, you can still learn the new tool, not a problem. It's a lot easier to go about that way. But yeah, so Kali Linux, Metasploit is going to be for your exploitation. Burp Suite is great for web app testing, or Zap. Zap is the open source equivalent. It's also fantastic. Bloodhound is going to be Active Directory attack path visualization, things of that nature. These are all going to be tools that are used on professional penetration tests. But the key for developing your valuable practical red team skills is going to be consistent practice in environments that are realistic. Set aside regular time to go through challenges, document your methodology and your findings as if you're reporting to a client. Practice how you play, or play how you practice. Yeah. Go through it like you're actually doing it professionally. That way you get in the habit of that's how you do it every time. Yes. Yeah. Zap is fantastic. Yes. Right. Start up all the tools and watch your box go burr. So building your red team experience, you want to start off with learning and building your fundamentals. Master networking basics so that you understand how different computers are going to talk to each other over networks, and then build your Linux and your web technologies on top of that. Next up, build yourself a home lab, create environments where you're going to be having invulnerable systems to attack. Join CTFs. Hack the Box is great. Meta CTF is fantastic. So is Pico CTF. You can get into a lot of the older expired boxes that have readily available walkthroughs online. There's so many others. If you just search for cybersecurity CTF on your Google or Bing or whatever of choice, you'll find plenty of them. Most cybersecurity conventions will also have a CTF that runs alongside the convention as well. And then get certified. It is a good idea to get certifications. However, certifications themselves are not the key. Certifications are just another way of helping to demonstrate that you have the skills and the knowledge. Personally, I lean towards practical certifications because they show that you actually know what you're doing and how to do it, as opposed to more standalone multiple choice certifications really only just prove that you knew how to memorize a test bank. Yes, yep. Practical certs is a strategy of professional development and growth. Absolutely. You're going to see the name TCM Security pop up a lot in this talk. I promise I'm not sponsored by them. I do have some people that I'm very close with that work with them, but I genuinely believe in what they're doing in terms of how to go about with practical certifications. That being said, for red team certs, starting off with beginners, the Practical Junior Penetration Tester from TCM Security is going to start off with a solid foundation. It's going to focus on your AD pen testing, like internal Active Directory. As you progress, you can start looking at intermediate certifications, like either the Practical Network Penetration Tester from TCM Security, or the Certified Penetration Testing Specialist from Hack the Box. Those are going to be more advanced. They're going to start including network penetration testing on top of the Active Directory, more things on top of that. Document all your projects and challenge solutions thoroughly. If you're doing Hack the Box, or if you're doing Try Hack Me, you're building your home lab, doing your own stuff, doing CTFs, document it yourself, even if it's just for your own notes. That helps you with being able to create write-ups later on down the line that will be used to demonstrate your methodology, tools used, and a problem-solving approach that are going to make for excellent portfolio pieces for job applications. Next up, we got Blue Team. So your defensive security practices. The core values for Blue Team is it's going to demonstrate your ability to detect, analyze, and respond to security threats using real defensive tools and techniques. These Blue Team roles are typically going to be the most accessible entry-level positions in cybersecurity for a couple of different reasons. One is that they're also going to be the most prone to experiencing burnout because of pure alert fatigue in the SOC and other aspects. But also in terms of skill-wise, they're the easiest to start skilling up and getting into. Hands-on practice for Blue Team, set yourself up a security onion instance, Waza, Splunk, or SoftElk. Get your SIM running in a home lab, start configuring your log collection, and create detection rules. And then you can start learning how to use Wireshark to analyze network traffic and identify suspicious patterns. There are places online where you can pull down log samples of simulated attacks and then import them into your instance, analyze them that way. Or if you have a Kali box and you know how to do the attacks, you can just go ahead and attack your defensive boxes anyway, check your stuff that way. For projects, in addition to just building the SIM, you can create an incident response plan for simulated attacks. You can build a threat hunting methodology on documentation. You can develop a dashboard for security monitoring in your home lab environment, especially if you tie it into a honeypot that's exposed to an external IP. Those can be a lot of fun. Just be careful you are making sure to isolate that properly. That could be nasty if you don't. For certifications for Blue Team, more affordable options are going to be the Blue Team Junior Analyst, and which is free, and the Blue Team Level 1 from Security Blue Team, the Practical SOC Analyst Associate from TCM Security, the Security Analyst Level 1, the SAL 1 from TryHackMe, or the Certified Defensive Security Analyst from Hack the Box. All of those are going to be practical in nature. I highly recommend going to Security Blue Team and at least going through their Blue Team Junior Analyst track. It's all free. It's a lot of really good information, gets you started firmly with digital forensics and incident response, as well as some Splunk knowledge and some SIM knowledge, things like that. Blue team positions are often going to have lower barriers to entry than offensive security roles. So this is primarily where people are going to get their start. Not all the time, though. Focus on developing a methodical approach to security monitoring and incident handling, and the ability to create reports that showcase your thought process through creating those. Next up is cyber threat intelligence. This ties into Blue Team, but cyber threat intelligence as a discipline kind of stands on its own. There are dedicated cyber threat intelligence roles where that's all you do. You're not doing any defense with it. You're just handing the information off to somebody else. You can set up open source tools like MISP, the Malware Information Sharing Platform, OpenCTI, or Intel Owl in your home lab. And these platforms are going to allow you to collect, analyze, and evaluate threat data like a professional threat management team. Again, this can be tied in with a honeypot. Use the honeypot to pull in the data, and then use the threat intel platform to analyze it and provide it to someone else. Learn MITRE ATT&CK. Being able to map adversary behaviors using the MITRE ATT&CK framework is going to be key for a role like this. So create a project documenting a known APT group's tactics and techniques based on public reports from organizations like Mandiant. There's tons of those reports available. You can go in, pick a name that sounds cool, although most of the APT's names sound cool. It's unfortunate. Something Bear or Cozy Bear or whatever you want to do. I know, I wasted 8 seconds of your life. Don't worry, I can do that more with a Q&A. And then honeypot deployment. So set up a threat intelligence honeypot using tools like Teapot, MHN, Dianea, Honeything, Canary Tokens, Elastic Honey, or Cowrie. A lot of them all will cover a certain subset of honeypot. So there's some that are for IoT devices. There are some that act like a SCADA device, things of that nature. These are going to provide hands-on experience with actual threat actor behaviors. However, again, be careful when you do this because you are inviting legitimate threat actors into that device. So make sure that it's either segmented properly or you have it hosted somewhere off network, like on a cloud provider or something of that nature. Then you can document your CTI projects thoroughly in blog posts, write-ups, GitHub repositories. You can create a visual dashboard of your findings if you want. I've seen some people that have made externally facing dashboards. You can go to their website for their portfolio and they have a link to their CTI dashboard, and it's really cool. Threat intelligence skills are going to demonstrate your analytical capabilities and your ability to understand the broader threat landscape. So it's going to be super helpful, even just in general. Yes, yeah, deploy it in production. Exactly. We learn how, we learn via panic. Cloud security on a budget. So first off, most cloud security providers are going to have free tiers. They're going to be pretty restrictive in terms of resources, but it's enough to at least learn the cloud security basics. Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud all have free tiers. Start off focusing on common misconfigurations. There was a report that was released, I think it was last year, that said something along the lines of 60 to 80% of all cloud breaches come from just common misconfigurations that never got changed after the instance was spun up. So practice identifying and remediating the most common cloud security issues, similar to OWASP Top 10. Master identity access management and permissions. Go into your cloud provider of choice, learn how their IAM and access controls are going to function, and that's going to be a good solid basis for understanding how to go in and protect that. And then pursuing relevant certifications. So for cloud, currently there are no practical certifications that I am aware of. Cloud certifications are going to fall into two different camps. You are either going to have vendor agnostic options like the CCSK, or you're going to have vendor specific options like getting AWS or Azure specific certifications. I would recommend starting with vendor agnostic, learn the general principles underneath, and then when you move into a specific vendor, just learn what their particular terminology is if it's different. Some vendors have a thing about naming their own thing a unique way that makes no sense outside of their platform. Currently, cloud security skills are in extremely high demand as organizations continue to migrate to cloud environments. Again, start off by learning the free resources. AWS Skill Builder and Microsoft Learn have a ton of free resources to help you understand the core concepts and then apply this knowledge on the free tier logins or the free tier environments. You can even go in and create deliberate misconfigurations in your cloud environments and observe how they can be detected and remediated. Document these experiences as well, and then you've got your portfolio project. Oh boy, here we go. GRC Mafia. So for security frameworks, study the ones that are going to be the most beneficial to you. If you are already in a position, cool, study the ones that your company uses. I highly recommend starting off with NIST CSF, then moving into 853, but I'm a big fan of NIST. ISO 27001 is locked down a lot more in terms of trying to learn about it, but in this case, I'm more going to be preaching to the choir because this is a section that everybody here is going to be a lot more familiar with. Download whatever free resources you have for the framework website that you're looking at. You can create comparison matrices so that you at least understand on a lower level what the differences between each framework is going to be. Understand which framework is going to be more applicable in which situations. It's going to help you make better decisions later on down the line of how to implement them, as well as gives you more knowledge to talk to in an interview. Yeah, GRC hype. Risk assessments. Practice formal risk assessment and evaluation methodologies. Make a risk register for a fictional company. Come over, volunteer at Study GRC, and we can help with doing things like that. We can help with ideas for how to go about making projects and portfolio items and things of that nature. How to get actual GRC experience on the table before getting into your first role. Develop quantitative and qualitative assessments, things of that nature. For example, Flakinator, here's one of them. He is being a little brat tonight. Policy development. Learn how to write security policies and procedures. Draft up accessible use policies. Create incident response plans, business continuity plans, you name it. You can go through and have a lineup of several different companies. You can have like a small mom and pop shop and then write up another set for a mid-range company that has a couple hundred employees. You can keep on going. Yeah, exactly. PBO with the 800-53 call out right there. But you don't have to write policies for existing companies. You can just make something up off the top of your head and then document what your constraints are, what the specifics of that company is, and then just go to town. And then certifications. These are going to be a lot more in line with what GRC frameworks you're going with. There are some framework specific certifications. There's some agnostic ones. Go good foundational start would be, with Security Plus and ISC Squared certified in cybersecurity, and then go from there. Reach out to people in the community, get a feel for what actually has a better reflection of the direction that you're trying to go. Yes, cats have domesticated us. But crucially for GRC, come join the Study GRC community. For you guys, you're already here. Join us for mentorship, hands-on resources. People have great experience to share. GRC roles are going to typically have lower technical barriers in terms of computer technicality, while they're also going to offer excellent career opportunities and competitive salaries. You don't have to know how to run, a particular Kerber roasting attack to be able to get into GRC. It's going to be a lot less on the technical side and more on the learning the frameworks and how to apply them. Next up, we got automation and scripting skills. So automation is going to matter because it's going to dramatically increase your value to employers. It's going to show that you can solve problems efficiently and you can handle repetitive tasks programmatically. Now, I got to change that. That doesn't sound great. But scripting is going to apply across all cybersecurity domains, from offensive security even to GRC. Even basic scripting abilities are going to be able to set you apart as well from people who may have the same certifications as you, but don't have any practical coding experience. For projects, start simple, build a useful program like automating OSINT data collection, create a basic vulnerability scanner, or build a log parser that's going to alert on suspicious patterns. Put your code up on GitHub, document it thoroughly, include explanations of your approach, focus on solving a real security program rather than just making your code complexity just to be complex. Python is going to be the most versatile language for security automation, with libraries like SCAPI for network manipulation, requests for web interaction, and PyMSP for threat intelligence. For system administration things, Bash is on the Linux side and PowerShell is going to be on the Windows side, but they're both going to be excellent skills to develop. Contributing to open source is going to be another thing that will help with your building your career and getting your foot in the door. Open source contributions are going to create a public record. Oh boy, I'm going to get DOSed, aren't I? But yeah, so open source contributions are going to be a public record of your work that everybody's going to be able to see. Employers are going to be able to take a look at and evaluate. They're going to demonstrate not only your technical skills, but your ability to collaborate, communicate, and work within established project guidelines. You can look for beginner-friendly issues on GitHub. They're going to be labeled as quite literally good first issue. There's also a couple other places like goodfirstissue.dev, and then another one that I think is first issue for good or something along those lines. And they're going to be curated list of starter opportunities for security-focused projects. Start small. Begin your documentation of improvements, bug reports, or test cases. These contributions are going to be valuable to projects and have lower barrier to entry than complex code changes. But also focus on security-specific projects. You can OWASP tools, Zeek Network Monitor, Suricata, or Sigma detection rules. They're all going to directly tie back into cybersecurity, and that's going to be even more applicable when it comes time to get your resume onto the desk of a hiring manager. Open source contributions are going to be a powerful demonstration of what you can do that's going to go even further beyond certifications. They're going to show that you can apply your knowledge in a real world context and collaborate effectively with others. Next up, we're moving into the less technical aspects. So your networking and your presentation branding, or personal branding, good Lord. Build yourself a strong professional network. Join local meetups. In my case, down here in the Mississippi Gulf Coast, mine is NOLASEC. Unfortunately, it's like an hour and a half away. Or you can go to your local B-Sides, go to DEF CON, or join your Simply Cyber chapters. Attend conferences like NOLACon, Wild West Hack and Fest, DEF CON, or your local B-Sides, or any other local conventions you have. And then participate in online communities, such as community Discord servers like Study GRC, BHIS and the Anti-Siphon family, TCM Security. Wild West Hack and Fest has one specifically for them, Simply Cyber Discord, and then Reddit forums as well. But most importantly, when you're networking, focus on providing a value to the rest of the community, especially when you're asking for help. Show that you've already put the footwork in on doing the research, There's a lot of people who try to join a community and just start asking questions in a manner that makes it look like they're trying to just have somebody hold their hand and drag them through step by step how to do things, and not taking any initiative on their own. If you show that you've made the initiative of at least trying to figure it out on your own, you're going to get a lot more help from the community as a whole. Yeah, DEF CON groups. Yeah, definitely. There's DEF CON groups in most major cities. I think there's 2 even in the DFW area. And then next up, optimize your LinkedIn profile. You can showcase your projects, your certifications. You can write up thoughtful posts either directly on LinkedIn or on a blog, and then post about it on LinkedIn. And it's all going to show your journey as you go. You can make a portfolio that's going to highlight your hands-on experience in GitHub repositories, your project write-ups, and your CTF achievements even. Additionally, developing soft skills is going to be essential. Almost all cyber roles are still going to have some level of human interaction left in them. Maybe less than help desk, but you still need to be able to communicate effectively and professionally, not only with the rest of your team, but with other users, vendors, you name it. Night Flakinator, thanks for coming and hanging out with us. Appreciate you. So you want to work on developing your communication skills, your documentation skills, your ability to collaborate, and then your presentation skills. So for communication, you can start by practicing by explaining complex technical concepts to a non-technical audience, and use proper English, unlike me. The ability to translate security jargon into business language, it's a huge thing. That is bigger than most people realize, especially once you start moving into any form of cybersecurity leadership. Being able to translate SOC talk into boardroom talk is huge. Next up, for documentation, you can develop your skills in writing clear and thorough reports that you're going to document your findings, your methodologies, and your recommendations in a professional manner. We've already been talking about this. Collaboration is going to tie into your open source contributions. You learn to work effectively with a diverse team across technical and business functions. It's going to tie you in well to work with project managers, things of that nature, because security roles very rarely operate in full isolation. And presentation is going to be helpful. You can practice by delivering security briefings through groups like Toastmasters or on the Study GRC YouTube channel, or anywhere else you want to. You can create video tutorials on YouTube. You can put them on TikTok, LinkedIn, wherever you want. Or you can write blog posts about your projects like Brittany does on brittwhite.io, is it? They'll post the link for me. Thanks, guys. Technical skills, remember, they may get you the interview, but soft skills are often going to determine whether you get hired or not and how far you advance. They're going to get you through the interview. Invest your time in developing these alongside your technical training to have a well-rounded professional profile. All right, we're getting very close to the end. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Next up is going to be resume building projects. So you can build a security configuration guide to attach to your resume. So you can create a document, a step-by-step guide for securing a system or an application. You can include screenshots, configuration files, and explanations of the security principles that you're demonstrating. You could create a breach analysis report. You could research a recent public security breach using available information using OSINT, and document the attack vectors, the timeline, and the recommendations for prevention and mitigation. You can do volunteer security work. You can contribute to organizations like CISA's Volunteer Cyber Corps. I wrote this before CISA got shut down, so I don't know if that's still going to be relevant. We will see how that turns out. You can come join Study GRC. We have volunteer options or opportunities available, or you could join a group like Hackers for Change to help with gaining real-world experience and helping others. And then lastly is open source tool development. Again, create yourself a simple security tool or a script like we talked about before that's going to solve a specific problem or function, and then document it thoroughly on GitHub with clear usage instructions. Focus on documenting what you did, how you approach the problem, what you learned, and the results that you achieved. Wherever possible, show concrete evidence of your work through either GitHub repositories, blog posts, or demonstration videos. And whenever you can, provide links in your resume to any portfolio style examples that you want to showcase in addition to talking about it. So give them the opportunity to see your work. Oh, CISO is still running. They just had layoffs. That is correct. Thank you. I got mixed them up with something else. And then lastly, we're going to build a job ready profile. So you want to research target roles, focus on entry-level positions like a SOC analyst, a GRC analyst, or a junior pen tester. Study the job descriptions and identify common requirements and keywords. Figure out what the role needs, and then tailor your resume to that. Don't lie, but tailor your resume to focus on the aspects that you bring to the table that meet the requests of the job. But yes, definitely customize your resume for each application, though. You can go through and make templates for general role types, and then take the template and customize it for each application that you make. Highlight whatever relevant projects, skills, and certifications you have that match the job requirements, and then use specific examples of your hands-on experience. Next up, practice interviewing. Prepare for both technical questions and behavioral scenarios. Be ready to explain your projects in detail and how you approach the problems and how you think you might have been able to do it better. And then leverage mentorship. So seek guidance from professionals in your target role. Look up who are people that are well established in that particular field, in that role. Ask for resume reviews and mock interviews to identify for areas of improvement. There are quite a few people on LinkedIn who will be more than happy to review your resume. However, one thing to bear in mind is that if you ask 10 different recruiters how they want to see a resume, how they want it oriented, formatted, what they want on it, you're going to hear 8 to 10 different answers. So take that with a grain of salt, get a couple people's different opinions. And then lastly, follow resources like Banjo Crashland's Job Hunt Like a Hacker series on twitch.tv. I believe he runs it Tuesdays at 10:10 a.m. He Central Time, I think. And he is fantastic. He'll go through and he shows how to go through the process of job hunting like a hacker, using the hacker mindset to better increase your odds of being able to find and get a job in the cybersecurity space. Use job alerts. Those are going to be key. And learning how to use Boolean search strings are going to help you narrow down your searches to find opportunities that are going to more closely align with your current skill set and your career goals. So we're going to close this out with a call to action. So what I want you to do is choose one skill to develop this week, and then set 3 monthly goals for targets for learning progress. And then what you can do from there is you can go on. Recommendation is you can complete 5 hands-on projects per quarter. They don't have to be something big. It can just be something smaller. And then spend 30 minutes a day, at least, engaging with the security community. It can just come into Study GRC and talk with people for half an hour. But get out there, start making friends, start building your community. It's a great group of people, just cybersecurity wide, not just Study GRC, but this is a fantastic group here. Start by selecting a skill area that's going to align with something that you both have an interest in and a career goal in. Set yourself clear, measurable objectives for what you want to accomplish in the next week, month, and quarter. Break these goals down into daily actionable steps, and then connect with the resources mentioned throughout this presentation. Join whatever relevant communities there may be for you. Follow recommended content creators in whatever areas you have interest in, and start building your own personal learning ecosystem. Build your own home lab for your career and expand that out, not just the actual virtualization home lab, but everywhere that you learn. And remember that consistency is more important than intensity when developing new skills. Keep at it even a little bit every day, and it's going to help it stick, and you're going to see a lot better improvements. And we're going to go ahead and move on to Q&A.